Giorno, Giovanna in Stone Ocean is a concept that I've had before, but I haven't followed up with it, so I want to see how it plays out. Now, originally, the idea was Giorno versus Pucci, but this is after that. Now, how does the world continue now that Giorno has stopped Pucci from achieving Made in Heaven? Now, with GR in mind, saying this is with GR in this scenario, Giorno has the upper hand in every situation. So now while Giorno is trying to, well, he could get rid of Pucci outright, he's more so the type to get the entire scope of this case, at least this mature Giorno. Interrogating everyone at the scene doesn't seem like a thing that he would do. And it's not that he's not quick with the draw, but I'd like to think that he'd only want answers from at least 2 people at max, and he's gonna go on with his plans. Talking to Pucci would only really annoy him because while Pucci is trying to finagle a way to win, Giorno's just trying to get answers, and he's gonna be like, oh, well, what if I, and what if I, and so like it keeps on getting reverted to 0. So then he's just gonna be like, okay, this guy, he clearly just does not want to be helpful. And when he realizes that he can't do anything to Giorno, I imagine that his mind just stops working like cars because of the immense gap of strength between the two. So the only people to talk to now are either Jotaro or Jolene, or probably the both of them. Now, Jolene at this moment would probably be like, yo, that guy over there, this priest guy, is out of his damn mind, and he's been trying to kill us this whole time. And Jotaro will maybe specify a bit here and there. He's just like, yeah, he's been doing this for this amount of time, and da-da-da-da. But to talk about Pucci means at least there's going to be at least one mention of Dio, you know? And that's going to trigger something in Giorno because, you know, after what we got from the manga, that picture of Dio is labeled. He has a name to this guy who he knows as his father. He knows his name. And this description of Dio from Jotaro would be a scathing review of his character. But I don't think this would be something that Giorno would be slighted by too much. He might show Jotaro and Jolene the photo of Dio and explain that, yeah, that guy was my dad, you know? But since Giorno can recognize someone's intent and resolve by just doing something as simple as interacting with them, I can't imagine that he'd attack any of the Joestars here. It would be a semi-deep hit to Giorno, but at this age he's matured a lot by now, and it's not in his character to defend the evil nature of someone who's never participated in his life. Now Pucci, on the other hand, you know, there's a lot he can do. But imagining it right now, he'd probably be starstruck, as Giorno is the spitting image of Dio at this point. And yeah, sure, he's worked with Dio's other children, but this is a power that stands above him in the same way that Dio did. Probably more. Most likely more. Come on, let's be real. And I can't see Pucci attacking Giorno when he's this hugely starstruck, but he may be swayed when he hears that Giorno isn't defending Dio or taking his side on this, because Pucci is not a guy that is switching sides. That dude is committed. So I'll say that Pucci tries Giorno one last time, you know? And GR is just not having it. Like just straight up just hits. Like, yo, get him up, knock him down again. And you know, that's how that plays out. Pucci's gone, and now this is a significantly different world. Giorno is connected with Jolene and Jotaro, meaning that we have every Joestar since Joseph. And in the world of JoJo, what would that mean? Well, narratively speaking, I think that Araki would have to introduce another big villain to close it out, since Giorno halting Pucci's enormous presence would just, honestly, that would have ruined part 6, to be real. This situation is terrifying because, you know, unless Araki pulls out another problem where it's like, oh, hey, this guy has always been here, we'd need a complete introduction of a new guy. And let's be real, Pucci was an out of nowhere thing that Araki really did make work, because it's more believable than whatever the following situation we're about to conjure up. Because imagine this is going to have to be a threat that's like on par or like can do something against this lineup that we have. Like, I promise y'all that having Giorno and Stone Ocean actually does more damage than good, because imagine you have this buildup of conflict for volumes on volumes, episodes on episodes, just for someone who wasn't even here in the story to come through and fix it. That is so unsatisfying narratively. Like, I'm like, oh my god, but let's keep this pushing, you know? Everyone goes home. Jotaro and Jolene, they fix up their relationship. Giorno continues his job as the leader of Passione. And Josuke is still doing Josuke stuff. Like, I really don't know what to call it. It's just Josuke stuff. At this point, the situations I see in the future for these characters would be on par with what happens in Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe. I wouldn't see this as a bad thing, you know? It'd be like that whole little mystery, little mystery slice of life type thing, you know? Ooh, what's going on here? JoJo, like that's basically what's going on. I wouldn't see this as a bad thing, but it wouldn't be as eventful as a whole part of JoJo. Now, let's say that we don't have that type of spin-off type thing happening. Like, that's not in the options. We have to make another part for JoJo. So I can tell you what we have on the table if we continue to use this universe. There's Shizuka Joestar, who isn't related by blood, but would be the oldest option of the new family. Because if not Shizuka, the protagonist would have to be one of the children of the Joestars from parts 3 through 6, meaning Jolene could have a sibling if Jotaro got back on the market, you know. Josuke could have a kid, Giorno might adopt one because my headcanon is that it just seems like his character, or Jolene could have one, you know. Or they could do a thing where it just happens a line after that. If that were to happen, I think it would be possible that the next enemy would be someone who has been watching the Joestars this whole time, not because of their actions, but because of their connection to the Speedwagon Foundation. So I think it's an interesting situation to work with, because this would be putting the new Joestar in the position that Polnareff was against Diavolo, but just now on a grander scale. Because imagine this enemy organization that's just like, okay, our whole thing is that we just want to assimilate the Speedwagon Foundation. And it's like, oh shoot, what are these other people that are like, have been hanging around with them this whole time? Who are these Joestar people, you know? And it would have to be a whole overhaul, like complete takeover. And imagine that, like the setup that we have right now. Joseph would be, goddamn, like hopefully dead at this point. Jotaro would be, I think, too old of a user to be in the action like that. And then all you have to do, really, if you're the enemy organization, all you have to do is make sure that Giorno gets no notice of this. And then Jolene and Josuke have their connections with the Speedwagon Foundation compromised because of you. My philosophy with this is that what Diavolo did was so effective and terrifying. It's not impractical for someone to do this with more numbers. Plus, this is already like a weird organizational thing that certain people do, if you know what I mean. Remove their resources and stack a bunch of their best stand users to take out each Joestar individually. Giorno wouldn't be possible unless they do come out with a new user that's on par, but I feel like if they did do that and they have this major antagonist, they should be able to make, like, somehow get Giorno and like take him out of the picture and just make that a significant loss for the part, and like make that like a huge like climactic issue and all that type of stuff. And if the idea is that this new Joestar is supposed to take over in this part, having a Franklin Richards situation where the kid is just at least gets significantly stronger than the past family, that wouldn't be that bad. Because I'm really thinking about it, and it's just like, imagine this new Joestar, like they've had all their family and they've been enjoying life this whole time. They've been going about the normal way. This is the most normal that the JoJo world has been for them. And they're just completely blindsided by this organization, and they're taking out everything they know left and right. Like, it's terrifying. But yeah, I think that'd be a good way to go about it, honestly. Also, if JoJo Lands isn't doing it, we could do that whole thing where it's just like, oh, say they're twins, you know? Like it's a whole twin situation, and it's like, oh, hey, these two have to go against like their new world and everything's getting destroyed and yada yada yada. It's like, oh, new Joestars and all that. It sounds really cool, honestly, like in outline on paper. And I honestly do want to fiddle around more with the idea, giving names to everybody and just really fleshing this out, maybe even getting manga done for it. But that's all for those that really do want to see this in the future. This honestly is an interesting idea to me, and I might just do it because of me. But yeah, if y'all want to see more of this, be sure to leave comments, something like that. Hopefully I see y'all in the next one. Until then, peace out and Godspeed.